this week, the launch of the next generation of Subaru WRX. We're climbing higher into the mountains now and we'll soon hit the bends. Meanwhile, apart from the smart cruise control, this has also got a speed limiter. This is part of the target course. And of course, it makes every boy racer feel like he can do 1,000,000 kilometers an hour. So I've sensibly set the speed limiter at 100 to make absolutely sure I don't get pinged. Even with the speed limiter on, you can override it. You can turn it off, obviously, but you can override it by pressing your foot down. And on the subject of specifications and the range, the big news is WRX comes in both sedan and wagon. The controversial plakky wheel-arched sedans look muscular with LED lights at the front and a deeply sculptured rear end. The wagon, in my opinion, looks slightly prettier. The wagon definitely feels softer on the road too, but everything is relative and the ride is still very firm. Subaru says the wagon is more aimed at the family buyer, while a sedan, especially in the manual, is a raw, hardcore experience. The engine has 202 kilowatts and 350 newton meters, with either a revised 6-speed manual or a sport Lineartronic CVT automatic. The 8 model range has manual only in the sedan as WRX and WRX RS. The CVT is available in both sedan and wagon, with the sedan in WRX, RS and TS, and the wagon in Sports Wagon, GT and TS versions. All have all-wheel drive with a claimed economy of 9.9 litres for the manual and 8.5 for the CVT. All models have McPherson struts at the front and double wishbones around the back. TS versions add variable electronic suspension dampers that change with the drive modes. Drive modes are Comfort, Normal, Sport, Sport Plus and Individual. There's also a track mode on a separate button. We did a couple of circuits of the Winton racetrack in the manual sedan. Since manuals don't have the adaptive suspension, we weren't able to get the full boom shakalaka. Buyers might buy WRX with a view to track days, but I'll wager most will go no further than a mountain weekend drive, as we've just done. If you want the STI look, there is a range of accessories and we'll include those prices in the written review. Full specifications will also be in the written review with a link in the description below. Prices range from $44,990 for the base model manual sedan, rising to $57,990 for the CVT TS Sport Wagon. And now at 100 in the high country, I've got it back in Sport Plus mode. I've been experimenting with the modes while you've been away. You can definitely notice a massive difference in the way the car behaves between the different modes. I think it's one thing that the Subaru WRX has lacked for a little bit. And of course, over the last few years, it's really fallen behind. Subaru don't want to call this a hot hatch. They say that it's in a niche all of their own, and it's not. It is in the hot hat niche, and buyers of this kind of car will also be looking at things like Golf GTI and Golf R and Hyundai i30N, etc., etc. So they're fooling themselves if they think that this isn't in that category. But, and this is a big but, it does everything that you want a car to do. And maybe that's the important bit. It's had a significant increase in power. It's got a 2.4 litre turbo. And here's the other big news. That engine is going into Outback. I still would prefer a conventional automatic. And I asked Subaru why there isn't a conventional automatic, and really all I got was, we think our sports CVT, or whatever it is they're calling it, does the job. And that's the other thing, this has full eyesight. So if I now activate my cruise, this car is driving itself. So it's got all the autonomous emergency braking and the assisted steering, the lane control and the lane centering and the smart cruise control, things that you even get in base model cars. And here's the thing, you need that now to get 5 stars. This car isn't going to be tested. I'm just going to turn that off because I'd rather be driving myself. And that's why I think they're not going to test this car, because if they do, the manuals will not get 5 stars. They probably won't even get 4 stars. This automatic version, the CVT version, with all the blind spot monitor and so forth, would get 5 stars. You'll notice the third LCD screen up the top is gone, so like in Outback, it's all here in the center screen. This one also has active dampers, and so the dampers change when you change it into sports mode and sports plus. One thing I forgot to mention is Subaru now has odd flopsy-dopsy indicators. So you press it down, then it flicks back up to a central position again. Very annoying. But we're going into some nice bendy bits, so let's just put it into Sport Plus, and you can feel that it's really come to life. God, it feels, even at this speed, I think this goes to show you don't actually have to have a great deal of speed up to have a good time. And now in this lovely bendy bit of Australian countryside, a little bit of dab on the brakes, you can really get stuck in, and this is what WRX is meant to be, to have fun in corners. Now, it's not infallible. You can bin your car if you're not extremely careful. But allowing the CVT to do its thing in Sports Plus mode is quite rewarding. And funnily enough, critical as I am of a CVT, dab a brake, set the car to go into a corner, and around we go, you still feel like you've got plenty of control. If you'd like more control, you can use the paddles. So now I'm in 4th, now I'm in 3rd. And what it allows the CVT to do is to select ratios. One thing Subaru did go to great lengths to explain, that this car isn't about massive amounts of power. It's about the driving experience. And the other question is, would current WRX owners waiting to upgrade be disappointed? I'm not sure. I don't think current WRX owners would be disappointed. But remember, there is no STI model coming. Set the car up for the corner, lovely sharp bend, and you can feel the very sharp 90 degree. It's my bag sliding around in the back. As you can see, this is sensational. You can feel every little nuance in the road. And we pick you up on a particularly narrow bit of road. It's a lot of this in outback country and the high country. And you have to kind of drop 2 wheels off the tarmac onto the side of the road to pass people. Doesn't mean you can't have fun. I'm back in sport mode again after spending some time in comfort mode. And because a lot of these corners are blind, I'm actually using the navigation to kind of get my way through, to know what's around the next corner. Because you don't know that there's not a car coming, so you've still got to be careful. If there is one complaint, and that is there's still no heads-up display. I can't understand that. I can't understand why Subaru, if they put so much investment into this car, haven't put a heads-up display in. And the other thing is, this is the top model. You can't get better than this. And although it's got this lovely center screen, there's no digital driver's display. And that's something that's standard even in base model Volkswagens and so forth. And now on this highway, well, what passes for a relatively smooth highway in Australia, the car is doing its own thing. It's watching out from in front. I can see that the steering wheel symbol is set, so it's keeping me centered in the lane. It's watching out up front for cars that are in front of me. It'll slow down if the car in front slows down. This has got a full suite of eyesight. With the center multifunction screen, it's got the lanes marked, the speed sign. Now the speed sign recognition is from GPS, so it's not from a camera, which is unfortunate because it's frequently wrong. But my blind spot monitoring is working. I can see that there's a big orange light over here telling me there's a truck beside me, although I could also look out the side window and tell that there's a truck beside me. Fuel consumption has always been a bit of an issue in WRXs and STIs, and I'm sitting at, presumably it hasn't been reset in the 1010 kilometers, and we're sitting at 9.9 litres per 100 kilometers. That's all from trackside here. We didn't bring you any track footage because it's really boring, but here's the sedan and the wagon. Have a look at this. This is the STI pack on the sedan. Subaru's hot hatch, some would say, but there's a family wagon and a sedan depending on your tastes. As always, hit like, leave a comment, and just there to subscribe.